Okay, first of all, very, very welcome to the Swedish pavilion, Hans Blix.
Thank you. Okay. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you here. We're honored. First of all, I'd like to know, what brings you to China?
Well, I was the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency for 16 years. And I was invited by old colleagues and friends from China to be briefed about a new type of nuclear power reactor that cannot have a meltdown. It is inherently impossible. It's a different construction. And they are planning to build this in near the city Meihai in the Shandong province. And they have prepared the ground for it, and all the technology is ready. And here in Shanghai, the Shanghai Electric is preparing a lot of the material to be built. So they are just waiting for permission to pour the concrete in the building.
Sounds like a fantastic project.
It is very interesting, and nuclear is experiencing a springtime all over the world, and many people are still worried about the safety. I think we have not had any accidents since Chernobyl in 1989, but never in 1986, sorry. But nevertheless, safety is very important for everybody, of course, and so this is an exciting innovation.
It sure is. And innovation is also part of the Swedish theme here at the Expo. Spirit of innovation. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's by innovation that we progress, after all. When sometime in the dawn of history people discovered fire, there probably was some lightning that struck and they kept the fire, and that was important. When they discovered the wheel, you have the earrings that are wheels, and discovering the wheel was an important thing. You don't have to invent it several times. It's enough if you do it once. So innovation in every society, there exists innovation, and if you can enliven that, if you can stimulate innovation, then you can also stimulate progress.
Of the countries in Asia, China is the most important one for Sweden when it comes to trade.
Yeah.
What do you think this World Expo can contribute with in terms of Sino-Swedish relationships?
I think we have a very long relations with China, and of course the ship Gothenburg shows the contacts already in the 17th century, or was it 18th? I forget which, but anyway, they sailed all around, and we got a lot of Chinese porcelain and a lot of other products from China. Later on, we have had intense cultural contacts. You know, someone like Mr. Karlgren, a professor in Chinese language, was important not only in Swedish philology, but it was important in China. I mean, I know Chinese philologists, they talk with admiration about Karlgren. So the cultural relations between Sweden and China have been very important. We are a small country, only 9 million people now, but still the cultural relations are quite important. Today, it's more industry. Today, it's the big Swedish industries like Ericsson, of course, they are big here, like Finja and Nokia from Finland are very big here. And you take also the Volvo. Well, Volvo used to be Swedish, now it is Chinese. Or half of Volvo is Chinese. The automobiles, the trucks, I think, are still Swedish. So I think everybody has to contribute. We are small, we are not even a third of Shanghai's size, but nevertheless we have some ideas too. And we can learn from the Chinese. We import. A lot of things are imported in Sweden. If you pick up a dollar horse, maybe it's stamped made in China, who knows?
Yes. So what is your impression, general impression of the Expo area so far? I know you have visited a few pavilions before you came to this one. Tell us about that.
We went also to the Planet Pavilion, and there of course it's full of the concern about the environment, how the water is drying up and being polluted, and how the carbon dioxide is threatening us with global warming and all that. And that runs all the way through. One thing that disturbs me a weeny bit as someone coming from the nuclear sector is that hardly anywhere do you see anything about nuclear. And yet nuclear energy gives the world about 16% of its electricity, about the same size as hydropower. But somehow the political stigma is scaring them off. They talk about wave power, they talk a lot about the wind power, a lot about the solar power, but not about nuclear. And I would like to see that realism. Maybe it will take more courage to demonstrate that, yes, there is a nuclear spring in the world.
Interesting. So what do you think about the Swedish exhibition then? I know you just had a guided tour through it, so what are your impressions?
Yes, I think that the show of the Swedish innovations are good. I think it is playful. I thought the panels in which you demonstrate how a part of the country which was very polluted, how it could be turned into something. You look at it from this side, from the past, and you look at it one side. And it struck me as a memory very much, the picture of Stockholm and how they can fish salmon from the water there. And I remember when I was the foreign minister of Sweden, I sat in my office at the foreign minister in the corner of the building, and I heard some people clapping outside, and I thought, my God, are they applauding the foreign ministry? That doesn't happen everywhere. So I went to the window and I looked out at, no, there was a guy who had picked up a salmon for 10 kilos. But the panel here reminded me of that, to show that, yes, it has changed. I mean, this was in the end of the 70s that I was a minister, and since then, as it's right, you can swim around there in Stockholm and you can fish there. I don't think I would advise people to drink the water, but I think that's going a bit too far. but even so, that's pretty good. So that is great. I think Sweden is doing quite a lot in the field of environment. We are very much conscious about it. The recycling, for instance, we saw here how the IKEA covers, how you have one box for cans and another box for plastic, etc. Well, I told my Chinese friends that we too, we put cans in one plastic bag, and then we put the plastic in another, and then we go out to a station, and about, I think, 90% of the aluminum cans in Sweden are recycled. Now, there's always an economic incentive to this, that you pay something for it, and then you get it back when you deliver it. So what? That's fine. That's a good system. So I think we have something to show to other countries in the world. We need to recycle a lot. When you see in the Planet Pavilion, they show how the copper resources of the world are running out. There may be something for 50 years more. Uranium was also said to be 50, 70, 60 years. Well, I can tell them that if we go for breeder reactors, it will last several hundreds of years. But nevertheless, it's right. We are really rapacious in our use of the planet's resources, and we have to be more careful. And I hope that we can manage the carbon dioxide before it's too late. And I'm not terribly optimistic. I think I'm more optimistic about what I did most of my time, namely disarmament and nuclear disarmament. And I see this is the spring of nuclear disarmament. With Obama in New York and with the Non-Proliferation Treaty, this is what I deal with mostly. I'm more hopeful on that than on the environment, because when it comes to disarmament in the world, we can if 12 countries, leading countries, are behaving sensibly, I think we can gradually phase out the nuclear weapons. When it comes to the carbon dioxide, we are 6.5 billion people. And that's a different story. And to phase out that, well, 85% of our energy today are fossil fuels. And you do not change that overnight. And even China, with all the expansion they have in the nuclear sphere, it's a tremendous expansion. Nevertheless, they build many more coal plants today. So that makes for more carbon dioxide. And we really have to dedicate ourselves. That's more difficult. I'm more worried about it, really, I would say.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor talking to you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I hate the bombs and I like the nuclear power. and on the military side, the world is spending about $1,400 billion a year now on military expenditures. $1,400 billion. Could we not do better with that in trying to save the planet instead? So there's a lot to do, even for a retired man like me.